Paul Sim, Paul Sim, stating for me that Hugo in Third Strike, what the fuck? Thank you, Paul Sim. I appreciate that. I was never a Third Strike guy. I love the Third Strike soundtrack. That's pretty much as far as I can say about Third Strike. My buddy actually got me Aggro 1409 actually gave me an emulated copy of Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter Third Strike, excuse me, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, that I was supposed to play for him for a little bit, but never really got around to it. Again, me myself never really growing up in the arcade scene. I was born in 1991. You know what I'm saying? And Street Fighter 2 came out in 1991. So, as far as I know, to my knowledge, Street Fighter 2 was an almost immediate success. You know, once it hit arcades, everybody wanted a piece of Street Fighter 2. You know, I didn't grow up around arcades, so by the time I was a little tyke, you know, I hadn't even played video games, you know, by that time. You know, I started playing video games when I was in elementary school. I started playing video games, the very first video game that I ever got, I got when I was in elementary school. I forgot what age I was, but I remember that my mom bought me, and I know at the time that my mom didn't really have a lot of cash, so she, you know, she tried to get me whatever she could when it came to presents. But at the time, I think the Game Boy Color was popular. The Game Boy Color was out, and everybody was buying the Super Mario Bros. For Game Boy Color. I think it had been out for a while. I don't really know. And I remember on my birthday that she got me the original Game Boy, the gray bulky Game Boy, and Pokemon Blue, Mike Tyson Boxing, and NBA 1993 or something like that. It was a basketball game that I played for GB, for Game Boy. And you know, as a kid, kids see things so much more differently than adults do. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to circumstances and situations, and you know, and being a kid, you know, getting something that had been around for a long time, you know, I was the happiest person in the world, you know, because I had always loved video games. I loved watching commercials. You know, I remember when I was in Miami and Resident Evil 2 was coming out for the PlayStation. I'll never forget this. I used to watch, every time that commercial came on TV, the commercial for Resident Evil 2, I loved those commercials. Just watching, like, there's one scene in the commercial where Leon and, God, I think it's Leon and Claire that you play at Resident Evil 2. I've beaten that game so many times, but I really can't remember. Wow, Hugo trying to respond to Dhalsim's Ultra with a super of his own, but ends up getting hit out of it. Very interesting stuff. Never seen that situation before. We see Hugo snatching Dhalsim out of the air. Dhalsim with his slow attack time from the air. Not really a swift kind of character. And Hugo pokes Dhalsim out before he can respond with an Ultra of his own to end that round. Good stuff to Hugo. Yeah, just seeing, like, I think it was Leon Kennedy and Claire Redfield. I think that's who was in that game. I don't think it was Jill Valentine, because Jill was in Resident Evil 1. I'm pretty sure. Jill, or was it Rebecca? I can't remember, man. I can't remember. But yeah, man, just sitting there as a kid and watching that commercial, and man, seeing, like, there's one scene where, like, Leon and Claire. If this is different, somebody please correct me. What's up, Billy Dog? Pleasure to see you in the chat, bro. But if this is wrong, somebody please correct me. But I remember watching that scene where Leon and Claire are in the police car, and they're driving away from zombies, and then all of a sudden the zombie, like, pops up out of the back seat, and Leon goes, "No!" You know, in that super cheesy ways. No! Like, oh, by me saying no, I'm not going to get bit by this zombie. No! And then they crash into the light pole. Yes, Billy Dog, I'm talking about Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2. Very affectionately, by the way. A game that I didn't get to play to completion, honestly, until I was in high school. I didn't really, my parents. Oh, okay. No problem, amigo. No problem. Billy Dog telling me to call him by his first name. Jaron. Please excuse my punctuation, bro. I mean, honestly, I don't know you well enough to know your name to pronounce it correctly. If you can spell it out via typing, then that'd be great. You know how when you like look a word up in the dictionary, and the dictionary like writes out how to pronounce the word, like you know it says like delight, it'll say like DEE dash LIGHT dash. Well, nothing because that's delight. It's like delight, you know. But anyway, first time Claire sees a liquor, she says that, not Leon. Oh, does she? Okay, well, thanks for correcting me, Dron. I don't really remember. Although it's one of my favorite games of all time. Resident Evil 2 will always have a special place in my heart. Even more so than Resident Evil 1. I really loved Resident Evil 1, but Resident Evil 2 is so much more expansive, I guess, you know? I guess the idea of being able to explore an entire city, you know, and not be restricted to a mansion, even though the mansion in Resident Evil 1 was actually very, very large. Very large. You got to go through the mansion at the beginning, and then, you know, you explore more of it, and you got to go in this underground area near the end of the game. Before you, I can't even remember what the final boss fight was in Resident Evil 1. I'm pretty sure it included a rocket launcher of some type, because I remember the final boss in Resident Evil 2 was you facing the tyrant, I'm pretty sure, and you had to blow it up using the rocket launcher with Leon or Claire. I can't remember. But yeah, that game. Wow, Oni combos need to stop. Ruck, you need to stop, bro. Behave yourself. Man, that Oni button needs to stop being pressed, man. He needs to stop pressing turbo on his keyboard or whatever he's using. That's a very interesting outfit as well. On Oni trying to be a little swaggy here. Oni got swag? What? Oni needs to stop. Look at those combos, the cross up from the ground. Jesus. Hugo says, stop that. I'm gonna grab you and smush you with my belly. With my big belly that has abs and is not flabby at all, for those of you that say I'm fat. Hugo's not fat. He ain't fat. Oni said, get out of here with that DP, bruh. Watch it. Damn. Respect my fireballs. And Hugo says, no, my hands are too big. I'm gonna block my fireballs with your hands. Wow, FAD sees the DP with an Ultra, and that'll end the round. To Oni. The Oni looking like a League of Legends character or something. 2-2 in this grand final for Rupt and Dragonus, excuse me if I can't remember. Hugo showcasing pressure from the air, utilizing it to get that combo, trying to get the cross up, grabs Oni out of the air like a god, gets that stun, focuses into Super against Oni, and that'll win the round. And the match, actually. Dragonus taking the grand final against Rupt, who showcased a very, very flamboyantly quick Oni. Good stuff, Rupt. Those combos need to stop. You need to stop with those combos, son. But Hugo, good stuff, man. Dragonus, good stuff. You ended up taking the grand final for our first edition of our beatdown of the night tonight. Tekken is second for me to blow your mind in anticipation of Tekken 7 coming to Steam, and because coming to Steam, ultimately to PC, I'm really excited to play Tekken 7. I really want to see that game in action. I've looked up a couple of videos as well on YouTube about it being in arcades. But for now, if anybody in the brackets is watching this on Twitch, because I know that I muted my mic for those of you because I'm commentating, I'm talking. If you want to stick around, I'm going to be hosting another tourney, one more tonight, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. For those of you that don't want to stick around, hey, it was a pleasure having you with us again. Final Super Ultra Fight will always be here for our members. And I hope you have a good one and stay safe.